Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. Today in Canada, we celebrate Remembrance Day. In America, I believe this is called Veterans Day. Let us all reflect on our physical freedom right here, right now, because of all those who were dedicated to us and sacrificed for us. And more important than physical freedom is metaphysical freedom. I'm going to read to you now a reflection from a seeker in our community. His name is Praveen from Portland. Everything we experience is the Lord's custom design for our evolution. He then takes upon himself to become the A's, B's, and C's, in brackets, blending with us, just so he can help us, in brackets, bend us fully. Remember this in and through everyday experiences, especially involving beings, and feel grateful. And when the Lord, out of sheer compassion, blends as my world, I need to remember to bend my likes and dislikes to take up his transcendental nature that is beyond likes and dislikes. As you celebrate Remembrance Day, Veterans Day, remember all those who are dedicated to you in the past, in the present, in the future. Akarma, karmani. This is being while doing. With this vision, there is less ego, and so there is less deservership. In comparison, karma, akarmani, which is doing while being. Even though one's nature is being, one feels like one is doing. With this vision, there is more ego, and so more of a sense of deservership. In our Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, there's a beautiful visual that helps to make this clear. The reference is Dwau Suparna Sayuja Sakaya, which means in a tree, there are two birds who are friends. And one of these birds is perpetually picking at different fruits, smiling with the sweet ones, frowning with the sour ones. And the other friend is watching, is observing the other friend bird who is really tiring itself out. And what the Mundaka Upanishad is trying to teach us, this is the difference between a jiva and Ishvara, or an ego and the divine. What does the ego do? Tries to create joy. What ends up happening? One always feels tired, physically, mentally, intellectually. Whereas, what does the divine do? The divine is being. Being what? Joy. Our maps are lovely, no? Sometimes through words, sometimes through pictures. For some, this may be abstract. When you are feeling joyous, what do you want to do when you're feeling joyous? You just want to be, correct? That's being. So relatedly, when you're being, that is joy. Please reflect on how being is being joyous and being joyous is being. How? How can we go from being tired to being? What's tiring us is the sense of doing. I'm the doer, I'm the deserver. Try to evolve out of this from doing to reflecting. Think of contribution to humanity. It is less by movement and more by motive. In other words, we contribute more through our thoughts, through our ideas. Reflect more. Then evolve into observing. Whose thoughts are these? They're the divine's thoughts. Whose ideas are these? The divine's ideas. That is the transition to go from doing to, reflecting to, observing to, being. Very, very, very practical. If you practice. If you don't practice, we are on day 513 of impracticality. Impractical mornings, that's what we'll call this workshop. We continue. Shri Krishna is now describing the difference between buddhiman and buddha. Buddhiman is one who is using their intellect. Buddha is one who has used that intellect fully. This is no longer an effort, this is effortless. Verse 19. Yasya sarve samarambhaha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dagda karmana tamahu panditam buddhaha. Yasya, the one, sarve samarambhaha, all that they do. That's the first quarter. Arambha means to begin. This is qualified by sam. Samarambha, whatever they do well. I often chant for you, Vidyarambha karishyami. Yes, we're beginning to focus on remembering. What makes what they do well or knowledge-oriented? Kama sankalpa varjitaha. It is freed, varjitaha, of kama sankalpa, which means desires. And sankalpa here means, in your book, purposes or plans. So free of desires and plans. A desire is a plan to be joyous. If one no longer has this desire, what does that mean about them? They're not planning to be joyous, they are being joyous. They're not putting in effort to be joyous. This is effortless. More simply, one who has nothing to gain has nothing to lose. No sense of deservership, so no sense of fear. One who has nothing to gain is one who focuses more. That is counterintuitive to what we're taught. We're taught that if I can gain something, I should focus on this. For those who have practiced engaging in whatever verb, without this sense of gain, we actually focus more then. And if you focus more, you can care more. All of you with your cameras on, all of you who are smiling, all of you who are taking notes, you're more focused, yes? And because you're more focused, you're caring more about what Sri Krishna is guiding you. Yes? So if everybody wants to become more empathetic, focus more. If you want to focus more, be more content. Third quarter, Jnana Agni. Show me with your hands. What is Agni? Show me. All of the dancers, show me. Fire. The fire of what? Jnana, which means knowledge, but remembering. The fire of remembering, what does it do? Karmanam dagda. It burns down karma. It burns down actions. The implication of this, remember that you are being while you are doing. Jnanagni, remember. Dagda karmanam, you are being. All of this doing is relative. Do you remember the verse I read to you from Srimad Bhagavatam yesterday? And Sri Krishna says, Astitaha. I am being joy. Ma kidaha. He's telling Rishi Narada, Putra, my child. Ma kidaha. You shouldn't be rattled because I'm not rattled. His point is, you should live like me. How does Sri Krishna live? Independently. For those who remember being while doing, they're playing then. They're playing in a specific role with a specific responsibility. They feel all that is happening is a movie. We spend so much of resources and time to go to movies. We were born into a movie. Watch, observe. The one who remembers being, they have let God. They have allowed themselves to be God, which is why it's natural for them to let go. Let go of what comes in, let go of what comes out. The messaging we're exposed to is let go to let God. That's what we're exposed to. And that is the right message, but it requires effort. This verse is focusing on the completion of this. They have let God, so they let go. Final quarter, tam. Such. It's hard for me to call them personalities because their presence, ahuhu, they're known as Panditam Buddhaha. The wise call them sages, or you can reverse it. The sages call them wise. The implication here is only those who do not need validation have the right to validate others. If I'm a highly insecure person, why would you seek my validation? I myself am so weak. How can I validate you? But here the wise say the person like this is a sage. The sages say the person like this is wise. In summary, this verse is a means for us. We have to practice living like this so that we get established in living like Sri Krishna. From inspiration to application, I was sharing yesterday that a discourse series is an event. Like the happiness series. It starts, it stops. You're happy when I start, you're unhappy when I stop. A discourse series is to evolve to become a study group, which is a movement. A movement starts, but it doesn't stop. On Monday, I asked all of you to read the reflections on our website. That is Shravana or reading. On Tuesday, I asked all of you to write on those reflections. That is Katana or writing. Yesterday, I asked all of you to reflect on what you've written on another's reflections. That is Chintana or reflecting. If you followed what I'm sharing, I hope you've come to understand and appreciate that there's more than 250 rads or applications or means to practice just related to meaningful mornings just this year. Use these rads every day. Use these rads in your home, in your schools, in your workplaces. All of this is a methodology for these reflections to become real. I keep sharing, for some of you, this is abstract. It shouldn't be. This should be practical, but it demands that this become your movement. I'm reading a reflection to you from Rupa from Monroe. Make a regular practice of reading the reflections from Meaningful Mornings on our website. That was your rad. The CM Niagara website is topmost of my list of bookmarks. It is the web page that is ever open on my laptop. On the website, and she consciously spelt it as S-I-G-H-T. Wherever I go, I feel nourished and enriched. Every tidbit, every sharing, every class note only makes me more reflective, which is exactly what I want. This has become a regular practice. I feel blessed that I can be more dedicated in my self-development thanks to this wonderful resource and all of the seekers in this community who share deep insights that provide me with more clarity and perspectives to further my learning. All morning, right now, I am remembering the one who is dedicated to me. That same presence is dedicated to you. Your application for this morning is, you may not have noticed, but we've completed 9 weeks of Meaningful Mornings just in this semester. Your application is, remember that. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.